Yes, Reggae Boys Commentary, like and subscribe, yeah? Reggae Boys Commentary, like, share and subscribe.
Reggae Boys Commentary, subscribe, like and share.
Sunderland Football Club, one of the many gifts of English football, a hotbed for talent in the North East, and one of the most successful clubs in English football. This is where my journey took me today. Did you know Sunderland Football Club are one of the most successful clubs in the history of English football? Sunderland have won 6 league titles, which is the same as Chelsea, and 2 more than arch rivals Newcastle United. Only Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Everton, Manchester City and Aston Villa have won more league titles than Sunderland. Sunderland play their club football at the Stadium of Light, and for many years there has been darkness in this part of the North East as the club suffered back-to-back relegations in recent times. There was even a spell where they went over 20 games without a win at home. The lights at the Stadium of Light may have dimmed in recent times, but they'll be looking to shine brightly again in the near future with the help of mercurial talent CUBA Mitchell. I caught up with him quite recently. Let us hear what he had to say about life in the North East, his Jamaican heritage, and so much more. Let's go.
So I figured, why not vlog on this experience as well, because this is something that I wouldn't do on the island, but I'm using Google to help me somewhat. But I'm in the Northeast, walking on my own, and it's just a different culture, you know what I'm saying? A different way of life, a different surrounding life, and what I can say specifically is that the nature, the Northeast, the way that the city looks like, people paint it to be this grim place, and yes, it might not be as developed as the Londons of this world and Birminghams and Manchesters and Yorkshires, but the Northeast is absolutely amazing. I've been to Newcastle, Sunderland, and it's a great place. So we're here with CUBA Mitchell, Sunderland midfielder. Firstly, CUBA, thank you very much for inviting me all the way up to the Northeast.
Nice to meet you.
How are you and how's the family?
Yeah, everyone's all good, yeah. I'm doing well.
Firstly, to kick things off, let's talk a little bit about your background. Born and raised in the Midlands?
Yeah, so born and raised in the Midlands in Birmingham. I've got a bit of Asian heritage, so I'm half Bengali and then quarter Jamaican, which comes from my grandparents. So yeah, quite a mixed heritage, yeah.
Okay, and in terms of that, the Jamaican heritage that you have, is that your dad's side or your mum's side?
So it's my dad's side. It's my dad's grandparents and grandmother. So my great grandfather and great grandmother, that Jamaican, which were born there originally, which originated, come back to here.
And in terms of, did you have a chance to speak to your parents about why they gave you that name, CUBA, or any story behind that?
Not really. I think it's quite random, to be fair. I think it just came up from, I think one of my other ancestors were born in Cuba, so then I think it was kind of like from there. I don't think they were born there actually, I think they just moved there, but yeah, something related to that, I think.
And in terms of, growing up within the Midlands, would you say you grew up with a Jamaican culture, an English culture, or just a mixture of everything?
Yeah, I think it was more of an English culture, but there was always that Jamaican side to it, so there was always that going to the Jamaican meetups and stuff like that with my other Jamaican side of the family, going to their house and experiencing their culture, so yeah, quite a mixed culture growing up.
And in terms of growing up, primary school, secondary school, was it always football or did you nibble a bit in other sports?
I think it was always football from when I was like very, very young, from growing up, always been addicted to it, always loved it, watched it. Comes from my dad, I think. All my family like really support football, so yeah.
And in terms of, that background that you had in football, were you always a midfielder growing up?
Quite a long time ago when I was playing more Sunday League in England, kind of on the wings and stuff like that. Mostly midfield though, yeah, growing up.
Okay, and in terms of just going back to that bit of Jamaican background did you have, would you say you engaged in like the food, the music, would you immersed in a sense in the Jamaican culture?
Yeah, definitely, I think so, yeah. Like experiencing the culture in England, it's very good, especially from Jamaica being such a small country and having such a big effect on England and stuff. Experiencing the culture is like very good, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but tell me what you know about Jamaica. Have you been there before, or family on the island still?
Yeah, I haven't actually been there before, but yeah, I've still got family living there and stuff like that. A lot of my family here, I really like, have experienced the culture a lot, so yeah, it's all good.
And as you know, where you're coming from, the Midlands has a massive Jamaican population,
Yeah.
so it felt quite at home there for you, could say.
Yeah, it's very mixed in the Midlands and here in England, so yeah, you get to experience a lot of different cultures, so yeah, it's all good.
Okay, and when would you say football, you were going to say you're going to take this seriously for the rest of your life? When you're 12, 13, when did you say this was football?
When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I was playing Sunday League and then got scouted for Birmingham City across along with other academies in the area such as Villa and West Brom. But I chose Birmingham, and then ever since then really it's always been Birmingham. Been there for about 10 years after that, and I'd say football was always taken seriously, but you only start to realise as you grow up it was kind of normal being there for so long. So then it was always really taken seriously.
For you personally, Birmingham has always had a good culture of giving youngsters opportunities. Would you say that was the reason why you chose Birmingham City?
I think it was just the closest option at that time, especially when my dad had to drive me there and back at such a young age. It was probably the easiest option.
Okay, and the experience that you had at Birmingham City, did you get to play or even chat with the likes of Job or Jude Bellingham?
Yeah, I got to train with Jude Bellingham a few times when I was around 12, training up with the under-16 sometimes, around once a week. But yeah, very good experience in his personality and his play style and stuff. And yeah, Job, obviously, same age group as me, played with him quite a lot growing up. So yeah.
And reflecting on the time that you had at Birmingham, would you say, was it a learning curve, or would you say it was massive for your development as a player today?
Yeah, I think it was massive. I wouldn't be where I was here right now if it wasn't for Birmingham developing me for that amount of time. It was like a home to me, really, going there every day and stuff, developing as a footballer and as a person.
And the stats are there to show the good work that you did at Birmingham. When would you say that you heard about an opportunity in the northeast?
Yeah, it was around when I was 16, about a year ago now, maybe a bit further than that. Just obviously not getting a contract extension at Birmingham, then getting the opportunity to come here to Sunderland, such a big club. So yeah.
Before coming here, were you aware of how massive the club was and the history that they have with the number of titles they've won?
Yeah, I think everyone's aware of how big Sunderland is as a club, but when you get interest from a club, I think you start to look into it more and you realise how big the club actually is. On an English level, they're probably top 10 clubs, size-wise, so yeah.
How would you say life is like for you in the northeast compared to the Midlands?
Yeah, it's a lot different in the northeast compared to the Midlands. Obviously the culture, the people, the food, everything's a lot different. But yeah, I think I'm coping well, getting used to it.
Would you say you're a person that adapts to change quite well?
Yeah, I think I do adapt to change quite well. It didn't take me long really to settle in here. I feel like I'm at home really.
And the family that you're staying with right now, I'm sure they've been quite accommodating to you and making you feel quite comfortable.
Yeah, they're very good in making me settle in and stuff, making me feel comfortable, because they probably know how far I've come, the distance and stuff, that I'm away from a real family and stuff. So yeah, been very good with them.
And in terms of your personal family, I'm sure you keep in touch with them on a regular basis to make sure that you're alright and everything.
Yeah, a regular basis, yeah. Obviously every day calling them, texting them and stuff.
So, as it relates to your time at Sunderland now, have you had a chance to mingle a bit with the first team or the gaffer of the first team as well?
You see the gaffer a lot when you're there, but yeah, he's a nice person. Always comes up to you, shakes your hand, asks how you're doing. With the first team, obviously they're in and around a lot, around the building, obviously eating food and stuff, right next to them and stuff. So yeah, you're always in and around them. It feels like you just got one big team.
Yeah, so in the Sunderland first team, there's a player that's on loan from Everton called Ellis Sims,
yeah.
and he's somebody that has Jamaican heritage. I'm just curious if you had a chance to just speak with him or chat with him.
Honestly, not. I haven't spoke to him or anything like that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go, another Jamaican connection.
Yeah.
Another an icebreaker for a future conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're 17 in November, I believe.
17 November, yeah.
Time flies, isn't
Next
it?
month, yeah.
Yeah, and the experience that you've had in the under 18s and under 21s, how would you say, it has been developing and growing your skills?
Yeah, it's a lot different, I think, coming from the under 16s to when you're under 18. As being a first year scholar, trying to get into the team over second years, it's quite a hard thing and it takes a lot of getting used to. But at the start of the year, I had the opportunity to be on the bench for the 21s because of how many players they had and stuff. I think it was a great opportunity, getting used to what it would be like and stuff like that.
So in Jamaica, the most that we get from the under 18s and under 21 is like match highlights. So
Yeah.
just so Jamaicans can know a little bit more about you, just want you to let me know if you're more like a number 10, a number 8, just so people can know a little
Yeah.
bit more about you.
I think I played a lot of the number 4 last season, but I'd say I'm a lot more of an attacking midfielder. So I played the 10 quite a lot this year, but I think I probably play the 8 the best, being a kind of box-to-box midfielder. But yeah, I'm quite a creative midfielder, so attacking is probably my strongest point.
And persons that know you well would know that with the dead ball, with set pieces, you can be quite lethal as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's quite a strong point in my game, yeah.
And in terms of, growing up, were there any heroes that you looked up to, whether maybe English players or international players generally?
Yeah, all-time wise, I'd say Steven Gerrard. Obviously, growing up as a Liverpool fan, he's like one of my favourite players, someone I look up to. Playing right now, I like Thiago from Liverpool, Modric, probably my favourite players.
Yeah, and right now when you look at the Premier League, you have
Yeah.
a couple of players that Jamaican international Leon Bailey at
Yeah.
Aston Villa, Mikel Antonio
Yeah.
at West Ham. How encouraging it is to see so much Jamaicans in the league.
It's very encouraging seeing the players playing at the best level in English football representing Jamaica. Very good, yeah.
And by any chance, have you had an opportunity to, perhaps, whether it's on YouTube or anything, just watch any of the Jamaican team play, the national team play, or any of the players in action?
Yeah, I follow them on YouTube quite a lot, on Instagram as well, all the Jamaican pages that update me with the scores and the highlights and stuff. Even like the school football that they have in Jamaica, even watching that. Very good, yeah.
Very, very nice. I'm just curious as well, as you know, the World Cup is coming up in
Yeah.
November, so I know that a lot of clubs, especially the first team, will be on a break. For the academies, will you still come into training every day, more or less?
Yeah, coming into training every day. Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because it would have been an opportunity to come on the island,
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah.
Get the passport and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But you'll be training.
Yeah,
So, but since the conversation that we last had, have you had a chance to speak with your parents and say, this is something worth pursuing, a Jamaican passport?
Yeah, I've spoke to them. They definitely support it. They want me to get that done as soon as possible, really. So yeah, I'm probably going to go to London soon and get it sorted, the passport. Yeah, as soon as possible.
Yeah, and in terms of the under 18s and the under 21s league, is it like the Premier League, which ends around late May thereabouts?
Yeah, I think it's around the same time. Maybe even less, because it's less games. There's about 12 teams in the league. So yeah, probably ends a bit earlier.
Yeah, if you don't know the answer to this question, that's completely fine. If someone gets called up from the academy, the under 18s or under 21 for international duty, do you know if it's academy, the club might ask you to stay, or do you just have to wait till the end of the season?
The club will probably give that time off to let that player go and represent, because I think the club knows how much of an achievement it is. So yeah, probably let you off.
Yeah, of course, you spoke about, being born in England, have Bengali heritage and also Jamaican heritage, but representing Jamaica, you'd say for you is an ambition of yours.
Yeah, I think getting an international call-up is probably the highest level a footballer can go, and I think getting Jamaica to qualify for the World Cup is probably one of my biggest goals. I see that as something that I really want to do, make my family proud, the people back in Jamaica, something I really want to do.
Yeah, and just to keep you up to date with things, the 2026 World Cup is going to be hosted in America, Canada and Mexico.
Yeah.
So from that region, CONCACAF, it's going to be 3 automatic spots.
Yeah.
So Jamaica is basically fighting with a lot of Caribbean islands and Central America. So it's a grand opportunity for Jamaica to get to the next World Cup, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity for an introduction once you continue your progression at Sunderland.
Yeah, I think for clubs countries like England, it's a normality for them to be qualifying for these big tournaments, but I really want to help Jamaica qualify for those tournaments. I think it will be a big thing for the country, for the people, for the whole team as a whole.
And in terms of the Sunderland environment that you're in, I mean, the Academy of Light, how would you describe, the facilities that you have there?
The facilities are top, elite facilities, probably top 10 definitely in the country. Compared to a lot of teams in England and probably back in Jamaica, it's very elite. You'll see things that you probably don't have in other clubs, which is very good for obviously players' development.
And in terms of your progression as a player, you probably have mates back in the Midlands as well, and you've made a lot of sacrifices to get where you are today. A kid your age might be playing PlayStation or drinking and stuff like that. But it shows that with the hard work you put in, you can make progression.
Definitely, yeah. Obviously, you just got to stay dedicated and stuff, and then get where you want to be.
Has that been a challenge for you? You've been just focused from day one, really?
I think it always has been, because with me, my family and that have always helped me be fully focused on football. Obviously, getting the schoolwork done as well, which I had to do, which you always have to do. It's like a thing that you've got to do. No other choices really. But yeah, with football, it's always been fully focused. There's never been any other like distractions or options really.
What's your favourite Jamaican dish?
Jamaican dish, curry goat, I'd say.
Curry goat?
Yeah, Jamaican soup as well. I like it a lot with the dumplings, plantain, stuff like that.
Nice one. Do you like dancehall music or reggae music? Anything
Reggae
like?
music, yeah, big fan. Bob Marley and stuff like that. I like it a lot.
Nice one. Do you have any siblings, brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've got one younger sister.
Does she play football?
Nah, not a big fan.
That's all right. And I'm sure you might be aware as well, Jamaica's women's team, they're at the World Cup as well.
Yeah, I
So
saw that's the first team to qualify for it, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, the first Caribbean team.
First Caribbean team, yeah.
So they're going to back-to-back World Cup. So it just shows the progression of Jamaican football.
Yeah.
You know, because the last time that Jamaica went to the World Cup was 1998, long before you were
Yeah,
born.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but the emphasis on football is growing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just good to see the women's side as well qualifying for these big tournaments. Hopefully the men can follow in 2026, like you said as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and you are the second second player of Jamaican heritage to play for Sunderland. Back in
Yeah.
the day, there was a player called Nyron Nosworthy, a centre half.
All right, yeah.
So you're the second of Jamaican heritage to be at the club. So it's something to follow.
Yeah, have to look into it. Yeah, see what it's about.
Yeah, and in terms of the development that you've had right now, is it that, just to get the facts straight, you know, is it a first-year scholar or a second-year scholar that you are right now at the club?
I'm a first-year scholar at the moment, but as a 16-year-old, so you get a 2-year contract. So I'll be a first-year scholar this year, and then moving on to next season, I'll be a second-year scholar. Yeah.
But let's say that your progress is so rapid that the coaching staff like it.
Yeah.
They could perhaps say, you know, come and train with the first team.
Yeah.
They could
yeah,
do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, that's great. And you know, in terms of your responsibilities on the pitch, you said you like that number 10 position. But if they were to say, do us a job at number 8 or number 6, you'd be fine with that.
Yeah, always. I've always felt comfortable playing different positions. Obviously, I like a challenge and stuff like that. But yeah, always felt comfortable with it. Never felt like it was too hard or anything that I couldn't do.
I've often found that you're a leader on the pitch in
Yeah.
terms of the way that you play.
Yeah.
Is that another ambition of yours one day to have an armband, or you just want to lead by the way you move your feet?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, moving my feet as well. But I think I am quite a leader. Obviously, something like captain in Jamaica in a World Cup would be probably like one of my biggest goals. I think that would be really good.
And when you look around the entire country, you look at players, for an example, like you have a Dishon Bernard at Manchester United, you have players, all around the country with Jamaican heritage at Manchester City, Newcastle. There's so much talent,
Yeah.
around with players that were born in England to Jamaican parents or
Yeah.
grandparents. I'm sure it must be encouraging to know that there's talent around.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent. I think it's just Jamaica getting them players from the United Kingdom and getting them to be able to want to represent the country.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And in terms of life in the northeast, I just wanted to touch on that a bit. Would you say the weather is about the same like the Midlands?
Nah, it's a lot colder. A lot colder than the Midlands here. Got the breeze from the sea. Very cold up here.
And something I found, maybe you can tell me if you've had the same reaction as well. People are a lot friendly up here. They want to start a conversation with you.
Yeah, I'd say it's like everyone knows each other. When you're up north, everyone's friendly and stuff. Wants to have a conversation.
And in terms of the actual Stadium of Light, not the Academy of Light, but the actual Stadium of Light, do you get an opportunity to watch some of the first team games?
Yeah, just every game, being able to get tickets and go there, watch the games, the fans and everything. It's just a great stadium. Probably I think it's the most fans in the Championship, isn't it? That go to view the home games in the Stadium of Light. So yeah, just shows how much of a big club it is.
Of course, during the time when you were at Birmingham, Sunderland were a Premier League club.
Yeah.
They had some challenges, but they've risen from League One to the Championship.
Yeah.
Where would you say the direction the club is heading in?
I think it's just forwards. You can see by how the players have reacted to getting relegated, obviously being in the Premiership and then getting relegated to League One. They've just been promoted recently. So yeah, I think the next step's getting to the Premier League, which obviously all the players and staff are striving to do.
And in terms of the agent that you have,
Yeah.
if you look at what he has done behind the scenes,
Yeah.
it's been absolutely massive. So I'm sure you're grateful to have that sort of backbone for you.
Yeah, it's great. Supporting me as a player personally, and then obviously all the other things that our agent needs to do. Yeah, it's great.
In terms of your dad or granddad, did they play football at all?
Yeah, they both played just grassroots football here in England. Nothing more than that, but yeah.
How excited were they when you had that conversation with them about Jamaica and potentially
Yeah.
in the future
Yeah,
playing for them?
very, my dad, probably the most person who knows the most about football in my family. Obviously him having that Jamaican background as well. Obviously, it'll make him very proud coming to represent Jamaica. But yeah, obviously he supports that a lot. Me getting my citizenship, and then hopefully as soon as possible getting in there, getting over there.
And how would it feel one day to rub shoulders with Leon Bailey, Mikel Antonio, Adrian Mariappa and others?
It'll be an honour, honestly. To how proud it would make all my family and stuff. Just for me as a player, as a person, just a very proud moment.
So honestly, for me, it was just an absolute joy to speak to Cuba Mitchell. And honestly, for me, I would say it was one of the best interviews I have done. And I'm not speaking about it in a self-centered, glorified sort of manner. I'm talking about an interviewee's perspective where somebody is able to speak and give their views. Cuba Mitchell is right up there. He was raised well. He's come from good values, a humble individual, and somebody that is definitely on the road for success. I am confident that once he continues on the current path that he's on, stays humble, stays grounded, works hard at his craft each and every single day, then he will not only be a professional football player, but be successful at his craft. He's in a warm, nurturing environment, and it's only going to get better and improve. Cuba Mitchell, I know you're watching this, my friend. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. And I know the time will come where you will apply for that Jamaican passport, and one day we'll see you in Jamaican colours.
Yes, Reggae Boys Commentary, like and subscribe, yeah? Reggae Boys Commentary, like, share and subscribe.
Reggae Boys Commentary. Subscribe, like and share.